What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk one more time about Sly Cooper 2 and 3 before it releases in a new and fresh way on Tuesday, December 10th, in case anybody's marking their calendar or anything. Just kind of wanted to make this video, and, you know, I got to be real. Most times, I don't really do this. I don't like pushing things on people. I don't like to make videos of, like, do not buy or buy. I kind of used to, but I kind of dropped that over the last 3-4 years as I just have kind of, I don't know, just generally make your own decision, do your own thing. You respect me, I respect you. That's kind of what I've leaned into over the last little while, and I think that's where I want to be. But let me just say, I'm going to be a hypocrite just for one video here because this is our time to prove a point, okay? It's really one of the only times I'm going to ask you something like this. Please show up. Now, look, do not go out of your way. If you're not into Sly Cooper whatsoever, you know, you don't have to do anything. It's your money. You spend your money how you want to. But I will say I've been very impressed from people that I've seen online. And I know a handful of them. I don't know like thousands of them. So hopefully more people show up, on Tuesday to support these games. I have seen quite a few comments, though. I actually think a handful is too small. I've seen several comments talking about that they're not even that into Sly, but they're into kind of the idea of what Sly means. And to not sound cheesy, or to not make them sound cheesy, this is something that can, I think, lead to other things. There's been rumors for the last, multiple years, but definitely, some weird stuff's been going on this year, seemingly in the background with Sly Cooper. And, I've mentioned this before, kind of in passing. I've seen a couple people, specifically on Twitter, Sly creators, like at least in the Twitter sphere or X sphere, whatever you want to call it. I've seen a couple of them talking about like something coming for Sly. Of course, I've covered the rumors on like Colin Lack and stuff that there's, a Sly remaster type situation thing happening, as well as a new Sly game. And it could be because of Astrobot. It could be just that they were, doing it just for fun. They wanted to do it. Every year you get one or two things like this, but it just feels like this has been, I want to make a video probably at the very, very end of this year. It's been a big year. Like legitimately, this has been the biggest year for Sly in God knows how long. Like there was the year Nick Baker, Special Nick, talked about a new Sly game and got everybody, including me, just like drooling over it, and then it turned out to not be true, which killed me. It really crushed my soul. That was a huge year. I might argue this is bigger because of things like this. We'll talk about that more, in a separate video, but like this is what it all kind of builds to. We did our job. Like we showed up, whether it was making videos or tweeting about it or telling a friend or buying it or playing it. We did it for Sly 1, and I kept saying it. The reason I was so happy when Sly 2 and 3 were announced is, like, as I said back then, they could have picked anything. Literally anything you could have picked to have be part of this, program to come out and to not be just streaming. Now you can actually download it, right? Now you can get it through, I believe, PS Plus, but you can also just buy it yourself. And I believe for Sly 1, it was $10. I imagine that's how much Sly 2 and 3 are. And I know a lot of people that could have gotten it for free but chose to buy it anyway, which I think is really cool. And again, I saw a lot of people that said just buying it to show that support, because look, if we don't do it, this is again that kind of tricky thing where it's like I don't want to force people, but at the same time I want to force people. If you don't support it, what can you really do going forward? You know what I mean? And that's the tricky part of this. Like, if you want PlayStation, not even just Sly, what about just games like Sly? What about the almost like relics of the past, platformers, but what about like the Jak and Daxters of the world? Or, just giving them an extra kick in the butt to say, yeah, Ratchet and Clank, like that's still, you can still continue that with Insomniac. We know that they are, but just that extra kick, right? Where it's like, yes, keep going in that direction. Just to have some of these games in rotation. And I think that's, to a larger sense, that's what Astrobot was. In fact, this is smaller. Like, it's a bigger deal to me because of how much of a diehard Sly Cooper fan I am, but Astro was really like the ultimate kick and the ultimate, like, we need to band together if you care. If you don't care, you don't care. But if you do care, this is a time that we all need to get together, as many as possible, and show that we support it, show that we will buy or play and enjoy. Now, the enjoying thing, it's like they got to make good games. At the end of the day, can't buy a game and pretend like you like it if the game sucks. That's on them, right? They've got to make games that are actually good. Luckily for us, Astrobot's one of the best games of this year, and it also can prove a point, right? You can buy it. You can show, okay, we don't need 1,000 games like Astro, but, maybe instead of doing 10 live service games, maybe instead of spending 200 million, 300 million on Concord, maybe you could give us 4 Astro type games, and actually you would not fail. You would actually make money, and it wouldn't be such a failure just in all. Those are kind of the messages that I think, again, if you want to send them, you can send them in terms of like, well, we need to send a message. And Astro was really the big one of the year, I'd say, for PlayStation. Again, this is a smaller kind of niche thing, but for the Sly Cooper fandom, this is big because, once again, we get all 3 of them within 6-7 months, right? June was Sly 1, and now we get, it was 6 months, maybe 6 months, almost to the day. You get Sly 1, and then you get Sly 2 and 3. Again, like, if we're not buying it, if we're not supporting it in some way, whether you don't even necessarily need to buy it, you just need to, I would say, show support in a way. Tweeting about it, talking about it, commenting on it, watching videos, downloading it or whatever, to not even necessarily play it, but to leave a review. Maybe they care about the reviews, right? Sly 1, one of the big things we talked about, and I'm going to do a video once 2 and 3 come out. How about just the reception that you saw in the PlayStation Store for Sly 1, right? Thousands upon thousands of reviews, very high compared to other games that are in like a similar situation as Sly, much higher than them, and almost a flawless score, like 4.95. I think it was 4.96 for months on end, and then it changed. One person probably gave it a 1 star, brought it down to 4.95. So, and which is one of the highest, by the way, scored games, period, not let alone just classic kind of catalog. So yeah, I don't know what else really to say. Like, I think did our job with Sly 1. I'm not saying like we're the freaking Resistance and we like brought back Sly 2 and 3, but I think, as I said, I said this a few weeks ago when they announced this, I think we nudged them. I really do. Because you did Sly 1, and like they could have had the idea to do Sly 2 and 3, but the fact that they did just Sly 1 and then they dropped both 2 and 3, another thing is they could have spaced them out. They could have done Sly 1, Sly 2, and then 6 months later, maybe next June, do Sly 3. They dropped both of them, and there's just not that many of these games that you're allowed to buy and you're allowed to download instead of stream. There's not a lot of them that exist because it's kind of a newer thing that they're doing. So to have it, that entire situation to play out kind of perfectly in our favor, I just don't think that happens unless, now what I said, I said this in the past, like if they are making a new Sly game, it could be part of that plan where they're going to announce a new Sly game, say next year, and they want people like just into it, just to, kind of drum up interest. So they had this plan from the beginning. That's totally possible. And hey, if that's true and we did nothing, well, whatever. I'll take back everything I just said in this video because ultimately I get what I wanted, at the end of the day. I think it's a mix though. I think there could be a new Sly game. This could have been a plan where they wanted us to be able to do this for Sly 1 through 3. But I feel like, remember we went over some of like the charts in terms of revenue and ranking of Sly 1. It did extremely well. Now, it's not going to like outcompete Astro or Metaphor or even like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like it's not in that tier. They brought back Sly 1 from the dead of 20 plus years ago, right? But that's not the point. What it's going up against, it did miles above anything in its league, right? And that's the point. That's what I'm trying to get at here is we don't need Sly 2 and 3 to outsell freaking Astrobot. We just need it to do really well and better than things in its league. And I think it's going to happen. Again, as I've said countless times, Sly 2 and 3 are miles better games, in my opinion, than Sly 1. I know there's people that really I like Sly 1 too, but there's people that think it's the best game. I heavily disagree. I think Sly 2, I go back and forth. Sly 2, it's kind of like the Uncharted 2. Like you have people that kind of always default to Uncharted 2 or Sly 2 is like the best one. Then controversially, I always say Uncharted 3 is my favorite. I kind of do the same thing with Sly. Sly 3, I don't know. I really love Sly 3. I think I played Sly 2 more. I probably beaten it more times, but I really just love Sly. I mean, I love them all, but I love Sly 2 and 3 so freaking much. So support it, I guess, if you want to, but I heavily encourage it, and I think that's probably the best way of saying it, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on all of this stuff, and I probably got one more video Sly-related going up, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'll keep an eye on, like, performance, how it's doing, when it comes out on Tuesday, and we'll do videos going forward. It's going to be cool. I'm really excited, and I hope we're able able to send a message, because as we talked about last time, like, there's only a few more things we need. Sly 4 needs to join the party. You could do the Sly collection if you wanted to. You could remaster these games, of course, if you wanted to, and then of course new games. So there's a few more steps. The easy next step is Sly 4, by the way, though. So that's don't leave Thieves in Time behind. I know what it is compared to the Sly trilogy and how people view it, but it is a part of the franchise, and it's in a similar situation, and it does deserve to be done this way that they're doing with Sly 1 through 3. It deserves it. So hopefully we get that next. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.